The North Yorkshire Moors National Park. Like so many of our national parks, its boundaries enclose an area of outstanding natural beauty, of high moorland and remote valley, of unspoilt villages, rivers and waterfalls. But there's something about this park that makes it special, something which is an attraction in its own right. This is a working steam railway. "18 miles in all of steeply graded, winding track, all set against a backdrop of rugged moorland scenery. How did all this come about? How can a steam railway survive and prosper in an age when line closures have become commonplace? In an age when steam power has become a thing of the past? Well, the story has its roots several miles from here. The fishing port of Whitby. Until the 1830s, the town stood isolated on the northeast coast of Yorkshire. Before the coming of the railways, travel in this hilly, rugged terrain was difficult at the best of times. To the southwest, the Newtondale Gorge offered a corridor linking the town with inland Yorkshire. Such a feature was a natural one for the construction of a railway. That construction began in 1833 and continued apace for 3 years until official opening on May the 26th, 1836. At this time, the railway included one peculiar engineering feature: an inclined plane on a grade of 1 in 10 and running for 1,500 yards up the hillside. For over 30 years, this represented a serious bottleneck, hampering the efficient operation of the line. Today, only the track bed of this former incline survives. It was bypassed in 1865 by a new section of railway. This was the new deviation. The grade of 1 in 10 was replaced by this one of 1 in 49. 3 miles of winding, twisting track, climbing from Gromont to Goatland. In this form, the railway continued, and in many ways prospered. But there were clouds on the horizon. The 1950s saw a steady decline in traffic, leading to the closure of the line from Gromont through Pickering to Moulton in 1965. This, for many lines, would have been the end. An end followed by the inevitable lifting of track, the encroachment of vegetation, and the decay and demolition of engineering features. But the section from Gromont to Pickering was to be different. Closure was to set in motion a series of events leading to the reopening of the line as a private railway in 1973. That year was to mark a new beginning. Years of hard work by volunteers and staff alike have produced a railway reborn in a different form, a working steam railway, rekindling an age that ended on British railways in 1968. Let's take a look at the railway itself, the scenery and features that provide the stage for a new age of steam. The connection with the British rail network is here at Gromont. Alongside is the North York Moors terminus. From here, the line passes through a short tunnel, emerging into the steam and smoke of the locomotive shed and workshops. From here, it's uphill all the way. We're in the Esk Valley and climbing on steeply graded track, uphill for 3 miles and negotiating a winding path along the steep valley sides. Goatland, one of 2 passing places. This remarkable station has barely changed since its opening in 1865, retaining all the charm and character of a bygone age. Southwards, and the climb continues. Near the summit, the rural tranquility of a century ago is disturbed by the lookout posts of a nuclear age and Fylingdale's 3 giant radar scanners. Now we're over the summit and passing through Newtondale. This 400-foot gorge was shaped by a surge of floodwater from the great ice sheets that covered this area 10,000 years ago. Set deep in the valley is Levisham Station, the second of the passing loops. In British Rail days, the line was double-tracked from here to Whitby. South of this point, for 4 miles, the line was reduced to 1 track as long ago as 1914. In that year, the spare track was sent to France to help in the war effort. It never reached its destination. The ship carrying it was torpedoed. Its contents still lie deep beneath the channel. Surely the strangest fate to befall any section of Yorkshire railway track. Finally, Pickering, the present-day terminus of this 18-mile line. The Age of Steam, recreated here at Gromont. Locomotives of the former Great Western Railway, of the London, Midland and Scottish Railway, of British Railways, all being prepared for active duty on the line. For the engine man, the day starts well before the first steam departure. One of the regular drivers explains.
Preparation of the engine involves making sure that it's fit for the road, by visual examination as you go around the engine, oiling up each point that requires it, and as you go around checking things, make sure that everything's tight where it should be, make sure we've got enough cold water for the day's work. Well, although the first train leaves Gromont at 10:25 in the morning on the high season timetable, the crews are actually on the locomotive for the first turn at 8:30. That's the roster.
Several engines provide motive power. Today there'll be 2 engines in actual service. This former Great Western tank engine and 80135, a British Railways design from the 1950s. This is the most modern of the steam locomotives at work on the line. It was built in 1954, a product of the newly nationalised railway system. members of the class or active service on the Eastern, Midland and Western regions. Some were shedded at Whitby, just a few miles from Gromont, seeing active service on passenger trains until the 1960s. 80135 was withdrawn from service in 1966 and sent to Barry's scrapyard. Restoration began in 1973. Years of hard work have led to the return to active service of one of Britain's most successful tank engine designs. Now she's watered, coaled and serviced, ready to move onto the waiting rake of coaches in Gromont Station. There are several regular drivers.
Well, we're at Gromont now, where the engine shed of the railway is based. We set off from here in the morning with a cold engine. Tends to be quite hairy some mornings, especially on the wetter weather, when adhesion's a problem. Even the initial climb from the station is at 1 in 126, which is quite steep in railway terms. We only have half a mile of that, and then we're straight into 1 in 49 for 3 miles, right up to the platform end at Goldland, which is quite a severe test for a cold engine and a newly formed fire.
The climb to Goatland is certainly severe. Right from the moment they leave Gromont, it's uphill all the way. From this point, the firemen will work flat out. She's on the 1 in 49 grade now. All 3 pairs of 6-foot 2-inch driving wheels gripping the rails, moving a heavy train of 9 fully laden coaches.
With the steam engine, the performance of the machine relies on the crew working with the machine and with one another. And it's very satisfying to be able to go through the day with your mate and get the performance out of the machine, economy of coal, and to work together with the machine is very, very satisfying. During the course of the climb, we'll probably burn anything up to half a ton of coal, just shovelled on during the run, in addition to what's being put on before we set off.
Half a ton of coal, shoveled continuously into the searing, blinding heat of a fire where temperatures can reach many thousands of degrees centigrade. Goatland Station, the end of the 1 in 49 grade, but not the end of the climb to the summit at Fylingdales. But first, there's a 10-minute wait in the station, and a chance for both fireman and driver to take a well-earned rest. From here, the work on the footplate is less intense, the grades less severe. They built up a full head of steam, enough to carry them the 3 miles to the summit without the work needed on the earlier climb to Goatland. This is a working steam railway, serving a community and an area in the time-honoured fashion of lines throughout the country. Like any railway, it needs a task force of staff and volunteers, ticket collectors, engine men, engineers, firemen, permanent waymen, signalmen, controlling an intensity of service which compares with many of their counterparts on British rail.
I'm the signalman at Goatland Signal Box, one of the passing places on the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. We pass about 6 passing moves a day here, and we have 8 trains in each direction. When the trains come here, it's necessary to exchange tokens for single line working to the signal cabins on either side and operate these signals and points to achieve the passing movements.
This former Great Western engine is operating far from its origins in South Wales. Its primary role was that of a freight locomotive. Today it will pass an engine of a very different pedigree at Lewisham Station. The largest steam engine at work on the line, London, Midland and Scottish Railway number 45428. Number 45428, built in 1937 in Newcastle by Armstrong, Whitworth and Company for the London, Midland and Scottish Railway. This particular engine operated from Leeds Holbeck Shed, regularly hauling the Scarborough Summer Special trains. It has the distinction of working the last steam-hauled express from London between Leeds and Bradford on the 1st of October 1967. Soon after came withdrawal, followed by preservation. Its high power outputs transferred through 3 pairs of 6-foot driving wheels make light work of the climb from Bromont. This rake of coaches has been restored to the British Rail livery of the 1950s, completing the spectacle of steam under full power on steep grades. steam locomotive is a living, breathing machine. It is at its best when hard at work moving passengers from A to B. That tradition has long since died on our national railway network. Here, it lives on, lovingly maintained and preserved on the 18-mile line from Gromont to Pickering. Steam power at work on the North Yorkshire Moors Railway and the scenery of this outstanding national park. Together they preserve the 150-year association of steam railways and the magnificent moor.